Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Soul, directed by Pete Docter and co-directed by Kent Powers and starring the voices of Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey. Now, when it comes to Pixar's animated films, beforehand this year I ended up seeing Onward before the pandemic really took movie theaters out of the equation. So now that I'm seeing the second film that Pixar animated this year, Soul, it's clear that they saved the best for last. It is an amazing movie that's as well animated as it is well thought out, and definitely as interesting to think about as it is to watch. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows a pianist named Joe Gardner, played by Jamie Foxx, who is a middle school band teacher who isn't exactly going through life the way he wants to. You see, he wants to be a big-time jazz musician, and he manages to get a chance when he gets a really good gig with a very respected musician played by Angela Bassett. However, he ends up in the mix of him being extremely excited about his gig, he ends up falling into the sewers and dying. Therefore, his soul gets sent to this world that's essentially the great beyond and the great before, where he meets another soul who, you see, in the souls in this world actually happen to learn how to get their personalities and find their passions before they go to Earth. But one soul, 22, played by Tina Fey, hasn't found her passion, and every single mentor of hers has basically deemed her completely unworkable. They cannot work with her in the slightest. So Joe has to find a way to get back to his real body in order to get a second chance at life, while 22 also learns what life really is, while also figuring out what her purpose is. But that's all I'll say about the story. The story is definitely interesting from both Joe and 22's sides, as there's actually not as much time spent in the soul world as you would actually imagine. A lot of the major beats are actually handled basically in the trailer. A lot of it is on Earth, and a lot of it is spent with Gardner in his real body. Well, I should say Gardner in his body with a twist, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. And it really does work out, considering that Pixar's animation quality for this one is as high as ever. In fact, it might be their most beautiful film to date, not only when it comes to the style of the real life scenes, such as Joe being in New York, or in the jazz club, or in the barber shop, or around the locations in New York, but also in the soul world with all the little souls and the quantum people who look after them. All of it looks absolutely beautiful, and the soul world looks very stylized while also being very minimalistic. So it happens to be visually striking while also feeling like it's very much its own thing. And the character animation is highly detailed and just realistic enough to work during the emotional scenes, while also just being cartoony enough to work with the comedy scenes. That's especially good considering that the voice cast is also solid as well. Jamie Foxx delivers a lot of emotion throughout his performance as Joe Gardner. But I think 22 happens to actually be the surprise hit for me. Not to say that I didn't expect Tina Fey to have a good performance, but 22 probably has one of the best arcs I've seen from a character all year. That happens to equal Joe's arcs in terms of resonance and in terms of relevance. That's also another good thing about the film is the jazz music. Since it's about a musician, the music's got to be solid, and they definitely got some of the best jazz musicians they could find to compose some absolutely beautiful tunes, which definitely helps with the film's breezy pace. Because despite being 1 hour and 46 minutes, it feels almost half that with the pace that it goes in. But it never feels rushed, and instead it just feels as smooth as a good jazz beat. And that's exactly what Soul feels like. A perfectly paced, composed, and absolutely show-stopping performance of an animated film. Almost like Joe Gardner just went into the zone and kept us there throughout the entire runtime. So Soul is undoubtedly one of the best films of the year. I have almost nothing bad to say about it, and that's why I'm going to give it one of my very rare 10 out of 10 ratings. See you all next time.